down to try to get a touchdown there, and they decide to kick a field goal. Let's first take a listen to what head coach Matt LaFleur and quarterback Aaron Rodgers had to say about that decision.
It was just the circumstances of having 3 shots and coming away with no yards, and knowing that you not only need the touchdown, but you'd need the 2-point. So the way I was looking at it was we essentially had 4 timeouts with the 2-minute warning. And, you know, we knew we needed to get a stop.
If I had known we were going to kick it, if we didn't get it, you know, maybe something else would have been maybe gone with some sort of, you know, crossing routes maybe there instead. But I thought maybe we're going to have 4 chances to go.
Aaron, did you agree with the decision to kick it there on 4th down?
Well, I didn't have a decision on that one. Yeah, that wasn't my decision. But I understand the thinking above 2 minutes with all of our timeouts. But, yeah, that wasn't my decision.
Strong words from Aaron Rodgers there. The odds of converting a 4th and goal from the 8 are brutal, and then you'd need to, a 2-point conversion on top of it. A lot working, you know, against LaFleur, against everyone in that situation. I got to ask you, Shregs, what do you think about the decision to kick a field goal at that point in the game?
I think you can ask yourself this morning about that decision, and if they had scored a touchdown, they'd have to then go for 2, then they would have tied the game. And you ask yourself, is that why they lost the game? And my answer is absolutely not. There's a million other things, and yet
well said.
I feel like they probably should have gone for it there because you've got Aaron Rodgers, the best quarterback in the planet, and you're giving him a shot, and who knows what could happen. You can get pass interference, you can get it down to the 1, and then who knows what happens there. But I also look at the plays that were previous. This was on 2nd down, and then on 3rd down, I'm sorry, Aaron Rodgers, go, run, dude. I mean, okay, so if you're doing that, I think the feeling is that I'm going to get a 4th shot. Instead, you bring out Crosby. Look, a lot of times we look back at games, and I'll bring up one for example. Nicole Roby-Coleman makes that penalty, and they call it no penalty, and it's no flag, and we always say that the Saints got robbed. Drew Brees led that game 13-0 at home in a playoff game, and then had the ball first in overtime. Forget those moments. Matt LaFleur is going to take it this morning. He's going to take it this whole offseason, and Aaron Rodgers is probably going to hear about it too. This was a collective team effort, and even if they had gone for a touchdown there, and even if they had made the 2-point conversion, they still were tied 31-31. So, yeah, I disagree with the decision, but who am I? I'm not a head coach, and the analytics tell you one thing. But don't forget all the other mistakes and missed opportunities this team had. They should never have been put in that bind, and it should never even come to that if they were the team that we thought they were all season long.
Well said. Collective team effort, collective team failure. I feel the same way you do. Yeah, you could point at one play and say, well, what's going on? Well, why didn't you go for it on 4th down? I mean, in that play, you're sitting there looking at that 3rd down situation where Aaron Rodgers leaves the pocket. He's looking, trying to make a play, throw it low and away, and it's incomplete. And then after we changed the camera angle, we watched the instant replay, could have ran for it maybe. And Dominic was right behind him. There was a linebacker and a DB that maybe had an angle on him. So I get why we're all sitting there criticizing Aaron Rodgers and also the decision. This is Monday morning quarterbacks. This is what we do. If you want to criticize Matt LaFleur, fine. But also praise him with some of the play calls that he made throughout the game. I mean, they were in the position to win because he called a good game. I think the most frustrating thing behind this, the way that we're breaking it down, is that the Green Bay Packers are sitting back saying, it's not like we lost to a flawless Tom Brady. We lost to a Tom Brady that threw 3 interceptions. And if you go into the NFC Championship game and somebody says, hey, Tom Brady's going to throw 3 picks.
In the second half.
You probably say to yourself, we're going to win this damn game. So the frustration is there. And I respect Aaron Rodgers because deep down inside, he's dealing with the loss. He's frustrated. He probably wanted to say, no, I did not agree with it. And I wanted to go for it on 4th down, but he held on to it. He held on to his words. I respect that because players that sell out their coach are players that don't take full responsibility.
What do you got, Kyle?
Right. What are we doing here?
What's up? Talk to me.
I knew it.
Listen, of course there's other plays. There were other plays when Pete Carroll didn't give the ball to Marshawn Lynch, okay? There's a lot of other plays. There's a lot of other plays when Doug Peterson dialed up the Philly special that New England, of course there are other plays. That's the game. What was that call? That call's going to stick to Matt LaFleur, and it should. Like, that is going to be a tattoo on him, maybe for... He's never been in a tight game in the title game. This is the biggest moment of his life. I thought he came up short. It always sounds good. We got all our timeouts, and the math is there, and the clock is there.
And you get the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, so we really have. It always sounds like a great plan until you see Aaron Rodgers jogging off the field and your kicker coming out. Now, I thought this was interesting. Afterwards, if you haven't listened to the full Aaron Rodgers media session, the Packers tweet, it's fascinating. He was asked what I thought was a really good question. Aaron, did you think about making a power play and saying, no, get off the field? Like we've seen guys do that.
Other quarterbacks do it?
No. I think I said
Lamar Jackson do it last year.
Lamar did it. And Rodgers said, look, the clock's ticking. I look up. There's 5 guys, big guys running on the field. There's a lot of gymnastics going on. It's not my call. And I understand that. There's a process that works. But Matt LaFleur to say, we got Devontae and we got Rodgers and get him off the field, we'll kick, and then our defense will stop Tom Brady is naive, is defeatist, and it was a terrible decision. And I think his nerves got the best.
Even with Tom Brady having those interceptions.
The defense was balling out.
Like, it's Tom Brady. It's Tom Brady. The defense was balling out. I know what you mean.
They'd stopped him every time the defense comes up with a stop.
I would take 20 years over the last few series of a game. Because look what happened.
And I also, to Nate's point, Nate says that Rodgers was respectful and didn't throw LaFleur under the bus. I took it differently. I thought that was he could have very easily said, I'm with Matt.
That was an indictment on LaFleur a little bit?
I mean, your quarterback says it wasn't my decision and then looks to the camera.
But then when he says, I get the logic, he's covering himself. And I respect that. He could have easily just aired him out. And I feel like because he didn't, there's
Did he not air him out?
Do you think he should have said, I'm with my coach, he made the right move?
No, here's the thing. Rodgers is the most sincere person in media. He doesn't say things he doesn't believe.
Right.
And he doesn't get caught up in the moment. What he says is what he thinks.
Yep.
And he hated the call. And he didn't want to back up his coach. And listen, he said some other things in that press conference about his future that I think are dead honest. I think he hated the call. I think he wants another shot. And I think he's right. He should have been given it. How many times do they have to hamstring
It's absurd. It's absurd.
What are they doing?
I don't know about that.
To
It's
you,
also
it's
just
not a
absurd
tough
to me
decision.
that you give him all this stuff, and then in the biggest moment, you're going to say we're better off relying on our defense. That's what kills me. It's Rodgers. It's not like you have Case Keenum at quarterback. It's not like Nick Foles is your quarterback. It's Aaron Rodgers.
And they're like the best red zone team in the league, and the Bucs are the worst red zone D. Like, you know those things going into the game. That's part of the game plan. We feel we have an advantage in the red zone. And then, oh my God, the clock's kick. I think he panicked. And I think it was a bad call, and I think it cost them the season.
Is it a tough call to make in the moment? Like, if you're LaFleur,
Of course.
like, you're really? I don't know if it is. I agree with everything Kyle's saying. I don't know. I'd say I don't want Rodgers to come off the field. It doesn't seem like it was the hardest decision to make.
It's easy for us to say that day after a game, but in a moment like that, a coach with a pocket full of timeouts, I got to respect that he wanted to do it that way. And we can say all we want about the decision and how Aaron Rodgers responded. He also could have ran for a touchdown on 3rd down.
I think he should have used one of those timeouts before the kick and said, hold on a second. No, this is crazy. Aaron, get back out there. We're going to win this game.
I agree with that,
Devontae,
too.
We got you. Like, we can do this.
And I agree with that, too.
And he didn't. Let's kick it, and then we lose. Aaron Rodgers never got the ball back. That may be Aaron Rodgers' last play as a Packer, for all we know. That last run.
Might be his last time in the NFC Championship game.
Definitely.
At GMFB, with your thoughts, he did say a lot in that press conference. Was some of it in his feelings, in the moment, or did he mean it the way you're saying that he did? A lot of the things, one of the most sincere quarterbacks to hit the podium and talk. We'll break that all down right here on the show.
What do we got? We got the Chiefs hosting their 3rd straight title game at Arrowhead Stadium, and you got the upstart Buffalo Bills looking to flip the table. 31-15, we're going to jump all the way to the 4th quarter. Josh Allen picked. That is his first postseason interception. Rashad Fenton returned it 30 yards. Allen ended up throwing 48 passes, had a couple of touchdowns, just didn't have it. And then this was the top rope. We're going to Tampa, stone cold stunner finishing move. The best tight end in the world, opened by about 30 yards, and Patrick Mahomes. We'll see you in Florida. Bring on Brady. He's coming. He's coming down there, too. We got a confetti bath for Big Red. I love it. 38-24. Chiefs in a rout in the AFC.
All right, before that game, we had Buccaneers and Packers in Lambeau Field. Look how beautiful it looked from the aerial view. Let's get to the game. 14-10. Crazy defensive play call. Even more aggressive offensive play call to end the half. A shocker. Scotty Miller deep on the fly pattern. Gets behind a defender. Brady's pointing at him. We got it. Packers come all the way back. On 3rd and goal, Aaron Rodgers has a chance here. Incomplete. All right, big decision. Down 8 before the 2-minute warning. 3 timeouts left. Matt LaFleur decides to kick the field goal. They cut the lead to 5. Alas, 47 seconds left. 3rd and 5. A stop gives Rodgers some time. There would be no time. The Buccaneers put the game on ice, and Tom Brady goes to his 10th Super Bowl.
Unreal.
How about that? so many narratives surrounding the Green Bay Packers. But what I want to do, I want to go back to before the season started and listen to our guy Kyle Brandt, who had some thoughts on the Packers drafting Jordan Love.
This is a terrible pick.
Oh, boy.
This is a terrible, terrible pick. This is a great pick, and it's I would say, oh boy, too, if I was the Packers. Are you telling me that this January, when Aaron Rodgers has them back in the playoffs, and they're battling, and they need a play, they need a stop, and they could have had another receiver or a linebacker or a defensive tackle, there's going to be a guy wearing a baseball cap on the sideline who can do absolutely nothing for him, and maybe the next year, and maybe the next year. This is when you are a game away from the Super Bowl, you're going to pick a guy who, first of all, is a huge project. We don't even know if he's good. And we may not even see him for years. They could have won a Super Bowl with this pick. And maybe they'll win a couple of games in 2024.
Very, very passionate, very passionate. Do you feel the same way right now?
I hate being right. I wish I was wrong, but I was. The Packers didn't go all in for this season. And when you don't go all in, you get beat. They decided to take their first-round pick and invest it in the future. There was a lot of great players they could have picked, a lot of difference-making players. First-round pick, that's a star. Look at what Edwards-Helaire did for the Chiefs. Look what some of these guys have done for their teams this year that could have been Packers. I knew it at the time. They're going to need a play. They're going to need a stop. And they needed a play, and they needed a stop. I'm looking at, respectfully, Equanimeous St. Brown drop a massive two-point conversion that, it could have been Chase Claypool. It could have been moved up and could have been Justin Jefferson. It could have been a lot of those guys. Alan Lazard, nice player. Not enough. And also, aside from the on-the-field product, now you have a preposterous state of the franchise in which the MVP quarterback is saying after the title game, I don't know if I'm still going to play here. And for what? Not for some number one overall talent that falls to you like Aaron Rodgers, for a project quarterback at best who led the nation in interceptions. I don't want to dance on Jordan Love or anybody else, but they needed a player last night. They didn't take one. They were not all in on this season. And when you're not all in this league, you get beat. And that's why they got beat.
Time for Peter Schrager to play devil's advocate.
I figured, Peter. Go ahead.
I know this half of the table, both of you guys have been very high on Aaron Rodgers this season. You both spoke with him this season. You both have a great feeling for what he's done to this team and his franchise. Tom Brady gifted him 3 interceptions in the second half, and we're still saying it's not enough. He was at home at Lambeau as the MVP. Tom Brady throws 3 interceptions. He has all those opportunities, and yet it's still Rodgers needed another receiver. Can we, for a moment, say, Rodgers, maybe throw this team on your back and win that game?
Okay, Peter, why don't we give Rodgers Mike Evans and Chris Godwin and Rob Gronkowski and Antonio Brown and da-da-da-da-da, or we'll give him Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. Like, don't tell me what Brady's done. Brady just was gifted an all-star team of future Hall of Famers. Let's see what Brady can do with Equanimeous and Lazard and Tunyon, because I don't think he even gets to that game yesterday. It's not the same cast.
He's 1-4 now in conference championship games. That's not great. I do feel like those other teams up until this one, that was like there was lesser talent on those squads. This felt like the team that was going to go all the way. So I don't know, like you tell me, Shreyas, what's the narrative and how much falls on him versus how much are we going to look back at this and say that the Packers absolutely failed him? To Kyle's point, absolutely they could use Justin Jefferson there. And absolutely it would be amazing to have Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I hated the pick. This morning, though, I'm not sure this one is on the front office and necessarily.
People are saying, what are you talking about? He had the MVP season. They had a great offense. You think that would have made a difference? They didn't have enough. They didn't have enough in the biggest game. And then on top of it, he wants to win the game, and they pull him off the field and kick a field goal. Yeah, how do you feel today if you're Rodgers? Tough, yeah. We drafted your replacement, and then the biggest moment of the season, let's take the 3, sit down 12, you never get the ball again, and maybe never play for the Packers again. I mean, it's a crazy state that they put themselves in because you love Jordan Love that much? Is Jordan Love God's gift? And listen, I wish Jordan Love the best. It has nothing to do with him. But good God, that was a strange pick. What a bleeping terrible pick that was.
Do they win that game if they have Justin Jefferson?
I think they do. We don't know. Maybe it's Patrick Queen. Maybe it's Antonio Winfield Jr. Maybe it's the guys on defense. Maybe it's a lineman.
All the way in.
I think they were a player short. I think they didn't go all